Hello, and thanks for watching. This is Todd Baginski. I'm a Microsoft MVP and the partner and CTO at Canvas Consulting. In this video, I'm going to take you on a deep dive in PowerApps and show you how to find available meeting times for meeting attendees, and also how to build a user interface that shows you people's availability so you can schedule meetings very quickly where everyone's able to attend. To demonstrate these patterns, I'm going to use the Meeting Capture PowerApps sample template. You can get this same exact PowerApps sample template from web.powerapps.com. I've already installed it and I have it open here in the PowerApps editor. I encourage you to watch the other videos I've made about this sample template as well. I have a video that shows you how to install it, another one that gives you an end-to-end demonstration of all the functionality in it, and another one that deep dives on another pattern in this one regarding how to export to OneNote. Okay, so I'm going to now put the Power App into preview mode by clicking the play button in the top right corner, and I'm going to walk you through the scenario that shows you how you get to the functionality, that shows you how to find meeting times that are available for people, and just walk you through the process here before we dig into the code. So when you first start the app, Meeting Capture app shows you the upcoming meetings on your calendar here. So you can actually swipe your way or scroll through these meetings here. Once you find the meeting you're interested in, you click it and select Start Meeting. At that point, the Power App will load all sorts of metadata about the meeting and pre-populated here, and then you can fill out notes and create tasks and things like that as well. When you're all done, you click Finish and Save. At that point, you can then export to wherever you'd like this information to go. For the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to export it as a single email here to myself so I can get to the next part of the puzzle here, which we're really interested out. And that is the Schedule a Follow-Up Meeting button right here. So here is the capability we have that allows you to find available meeting times for attendees. So as you can see here, we have 7 different people who are in this meeting. And down here at the bottom, I can put in a search and search for other people in my organization as well, like that. And then you're able to find those people inside of your org. If you're interested in building a Active Directory people picker control like this, I encourage you to check out the video I have on my YouTube channel about it. The next thing you're going to do the follow-up meeting is you're actually going to have to give it a subject. So here is the subject of the meeting invite that will go out in Outlook, and there is the description that will head out in the body of that email. So now I'm going to click Find Available Times, and here it automatically picks today's date and the range of the current working day here, and then a duration for the meeting. When I click Find Available Times at the bottom, it uses these parameters, as well as the people I selected on the previous page, to determine who is available and who is not available at every single time in that time range based on the meeting duration increment you picked here. So here you can see I got 100% of people can attend today from 11 to 11:30, but as the day unfolds, that ability goes up and down at different times. We can also change the parameters over here, click Find Available Times, and watch this refresh again. When we're all done and we select the time slot, then we can click Send Invite, and the app will actually send an Outlook calendar invite for that particular meeting. But what we're interested in here in this video is how did we find out who was available at these times for this duration on this date? And then how did we build a really nice looking gallery like this to allow you to easily find people and times that work to follow up? So let's dive into the code and see how that's done now. So first thing I'm going to do is click the X in the top corner here to return to edit mode. Now this pattern that I just followed of going into a Power App, running it, getting to the page that has the functionality I want while I'm in preview mode in the editor, and then coming back into edit mode is a really good way that you can dissect any Power App, especially these Power App sample templates on web.powerapps.com, so you can learn how they work and more about them. So as we come in here, I noticed that when I clicked Find Available Times, and you did too, that's when we actually did the search and populated the gallery. So let's start by clicking on the Find Available Times button here and inspect the code in the onSelect method there. The first thing you'll know is that we do a clear collect function. If you're new to Power Apps, clear collect means that you're going to create a new collection and you're going to clear out anything inside of that collection so it starts fresh when you create it. Notice when I click inside of it at the top, it tells you what I'm putting in as the arguments or the parameters. The first one is the name of the collection. I'm going to call this Meeting Times. Then I'm going to add columns to it. And inside of add columns, the source of the columns that I'm adding is actually my call out to the Office 365 connector. If we look under View, Data Sources, we can see Office 365 named right here. That's our Outlook connector. So anytime you call on a connector in code, it's going to have the exact same name in code as it does in the data pane here. So back to our button to find available meeting times now. Now we can see that that's the Office 365 Outlook connector, and we are going to call the function on it called Find Meeting Times. Find Meeting Times, as you can see at the top in bold here, is expecting these different arguments. We're telling it the maximum candidates, in this case we say 15, minimum attendee percentage here. So it's give me it back whether someone can attend and has a 0% chance or a 100% chance, so we can calculate their availability. The meeting duration. This is how long the meeting should be or should last. And notice the purple here under meeting duration selection. You can see that correlates to this control here. So we're pulling out the amount of minutes from the selected value in that control. The meeting should start at, and here you can see meeting range start range. That's the orange box behind it. The end box is buried right now, but if I minimize this, here's the blue. That's the end time that we're passing in. And in both cases, you'll notice here, we do a date add, convert to UTC with minutes, and then we turn it into a text value so that can be passed as this parameter. Finally, we're passing in the required attendees. The required attendees is a concatenation of the follow-up meeting times. So you may be wondering, where did follow-up meeting times come from? Let me show you that now. Follow-up meeting attendees is a collection we built on the previous page. Remember when I showed you all of the different people who were in that meeting that I wanted to schedule the follow-up with? That's where that collection comes from. If you go to File, Collections, and you look at follow-up meeting attendees here, now you can see the different people that are actually represented underneath the hood here in our collection that we picked in our user interface. So what we're doing is we're concatenating here this particular collection and then adding in the user principal name there and concatenating them with a semicolon in between them. That's the format that we need to take to pass in required attendees. After we do the adding of columns there, the other thing that we need to pass in there, not just our source, is the start time and the end time. So essentially what this is going to tell us is all the different people and their availability for meeting times and their suggestions that come back from this call to the connector, combined with the start and the end time of the meeting time slot. So if we look at meeting times, because I've already run this code, this particular collection is also already populated. I can go back and look at collections and head over to the meeting times collection right here. And now I can see this is a very deep nested collection. It has the confidence levels of each meeting time that come back. As you can see, 100, 66, again, down to 50. The attendees who are available in there, for example, I can dig in and I can see these two people were free, but this person was busy. And who was that? That was Stephen. So when I come back and I take a look at that in the user interface, that should make a lot of sense, because here we had 100% available in that collection, but then the first one I looked at 66%, Stephen was one of the people unable to attend. So now you can get a feel for how that collection is actually built up and everything in it with the Office 365 connector. So now that we have the data back from the connector, how do we bind it up to be such a cool looking gallery like this to make it easy to find out who can and can't make it, what's the percentage of availability, and give you the ability to actually select it? Well, I'm going to pick on the available times gallery here. And the first thing I'd like to point out is its data source. That's the items property we see here at the top. Notice it's the same collection called Meeting Times. We're sorting this one by the confidence column descending and by the start column ascending. So that means that the more confident we are that we have 100% attendee availability, put it at the top of the list. And then after that, put the start time in so that it flows in chronological order. After we've done that, to bind the data, let's click on the layout here of blank and take a closer look at how we bound up all the columns and controls. The attendee availability text is this text at the top that says 100% attendee availability. Here, we're simply taking the confidence column and we're rounding it so that there's only one decimal place, and then we're displaying it. So you can see as you look at the top here in the code, as well as what we have in the user interface, that's pretty simple binding. Can't attend is a little bit more complex. Here basically what we're doing is we're filtering out the item's attendee availability where their availability is not equal to free. So that means that person can't make it. And then we're going to put a comma on it and we're going to look up inside of the Followup meeting attendees collection we looked at before, where their user principal name is equal to the attendee's email address display name. We concatenate those together, and the mid is used to tell us to start looking at the third character in that string. So essentially what we're building up out of that is the list of people that you can see right here in the unable to attend section. Now returning back to the gallery here, there's a couple more data points we bind. The next one is the select follow-up time. So this is essentially our button right here that says 11 a.m. to 11:30 for the top one in the list. Here you can see this is very simple, and what we are doing here is when you select it, it's taking the start time for this item and the end time for this item, and it's setting them to these variables. These variables are used when you click the button to actually send the meeting invite, so it knows which time you picked. The other buttons in here are just text values and a graphic that sit at the top of the row here that indicates someone is unable to attend. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, it really comes down to one call to the Outlook connector here to return who can and cannot attend a meeting based on their availability. All happens right inside of there. And then the more complex piece is some of that dating binding we saw as well. We hope that this app comes in really handy for you. It's one of the favorite ones of mine that we have developed because I use it all the time, and it's just great for following up on meetings and taking notes on them. exporting information from meetings to all different places. We hope you find it really helpful too, and you can use these patterns in other Power Apps you develop as well. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you next time.